Chloe Shorten. Family violence is about gender. No question. This week we learned of a grave and overwhelming tragedy for 4 young children in my home state of Queensland. Well, you know what, Queensland is my home state as well, and it's pretty fucking sweet up there. I don't remember children suffering tragedies on a regular basis. Pretty fucking nice. What I do remember is a lot of women on the beach. Every day. Weekdays. 9 to 5. On the beach. Not working. Probably unrelated. The shocking death of their mother, Teresa Bradford, at the hands of their father, what a bastard, is yet another horrific reminder that family violence is the most vivid, yes, it's very vivid, that's obvious, the most harmful, well, no, what if somebody just got slapped? People get murdered randomly on the street. Sometimes that's more harmful. And the most shameful, well, no, the person who perpetrates family violence might not be ashamed of it, but the person who perpetrates a random mugging might be very ashamed of it. Manifestation of gender inequality in Australia. Oh, really? It's gender inequality. But there's no inherent difference between the sexes. There's no difference in capability between men and women. It's not like men are more capable of beating up women. Surely it's that women have this thing where men beat them up and they just let their husbands beat them up because women are better. They're more gracious, so they let men beat them up, and they don't report it, and they don't fight back, even though they're just as good as men at everything. Shit, it's all falling apart, guys. It almost feels like you can't have your cake and eat it. But alright, let's go with that. It's a gender issue. It's definitely a gender issue. Men are better than women, and that's why women are better than men. Fuck. Family violence is overwhelmingly about gender. Yes, because women are better than men, and therefore men hate women because they're jealous. And women let men beat them up and then complain about it on social media? But not to the police, just on social media. I think I almost follow here. I'm nearly with you. Let's go on. It is overwhelmingly about men hurting women. Well, not really hurting them, they're just pretending. They are, after all, the stronger sex. 1 in 3 women know this firsthand. 1 in 1 men know that women suck cock. What the fuck is your point? 1 in 3 is too many. 12 in 50 is too many. 1 in 70 trillion is too many. Too many what? Just come out and say it. More than 1 death, on average, per week is too many. 44. 44. That is the number of men, on average, who committed suicide in 2015, compared to 14 women. Do not presume to talk to me about too many. Go back to the beach. Take your bikini off. Enjoy yourself. And we will continue to work to sustain you so long as you do not work to undermine us. 1 victim at all is too many. You are unbelievable. If you truly believe that, then you would abandon the cause as quickly as you could. These statistics are awful and very real. I know all too well, but we are still prepared to forgive you because we love you. You just need to stop hating us. But these aren't just numbers. They are our fellow Australians, so long as they have a pussy. Our friends, mums, sisters, daughters, our partners. How can I put this? One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is not the same. You see, there are a lot of gendered words in this list. Our mums, our sisters, our daughters. I feel like she didn't mean to say our friends and our partners, because it's very obvious that she's only talking about women, that only women should have rights. But friends and partners can be men as well. When I think about Teresa, I think about the 4 children she leaves behind. Are any of them sons? And what this means for them? Well, it means that the daughters will receive trust funds from charities built up in her name, and that the sons will receive education on how not to murder and rape, and they'll probably be sent to prison anyway. Because, let's face it, they're definitely murderers and rapists. During the week, like lots of mums and dads around Australia, I proudly watched my kids go back to school after the holidays. I'm sure I wasn't the only one thinking about the thousands of children in Australia who go to school with heavy hearts and tired eyes. Yeah, I hated school too. I mean, I shouldn't have. It's good for me. After another night broken by violence, many children don't even have anyone to see them off to school or to ask them about their day when they get home. In homes with children, family violence is child abuse. No, it is not. Family violence is family violence. In fact, it's not even that. It's fucking violence. Seriously, when do we make this distinction? Is there family theft and family drug use? Get fucked. Violence is violence. Is the violence committed on the children? If your answer is no, then your answer is no. If the violence is not committed on the children, then the children do not matter. According to a 2016 Australia's National Research Organisation for Women's Safety report, around 750,000 women had children in their care when they experienced violence, and around 250,000 men were ever allowed to have children in their care. That's not a real stat. I'm taking the piss. More than 75% of these women confirmed that their children either saw or heard the violence, and more than 75% of these women had an interest in confirming that their children either saw or heard the violence. So often these kids suffer in silence, sleepless with fear, and then have to quietly sit in the classroom trying to undertake the same tasks as their peers. Yeah, that meritocracy though. Fuck, it sucks to live in the best kind of society possible. That's just one of the terrible tests awaiting the 4 Bradford children who became orphans last week. Yeah. Oh wait, no, they were white, fuck. Never mind, white privilege. Families Australia has research showing that more than 70,000 children use homeless services in 1 year. It's funny this comes hot on the heels of an article about how police have arrested several homeless people who were camped outside of Flinders Street in Melbourne. Is it only bad when you're children, or is it only bad when you're women? Tough. Thing is, a lot of people liked that the homeless people were arrested, but now it seems that it's unacceptable for people to be homeless, but only if it can be tied into women's issues. That looks a little hypocritical. I mean, there was even a woman that was arrested during the Flinders Street thing. Like, you gotta get your shit together, you gotta keep your standards. Is it entirely gendered? If it's entirely gendered, why did they arrest the woman at Flinders Street? Like, is homelessness bad or is it not bad? Is it only bad some of the times? I don't know. You probably disagree with the arresting of the homeless people. It's probably an unfair comparison to make, but, hitting the headlines at the same time, you gotta be careful. Often due to family and domestic violence, many of these children also live below the poverty line. How many relate to family and domestic violence? And how many of them live below the poverty line because their mothers are spending all of the money? And how many of them live below the poverty line due to domestic violence? And how the fuck do you live below the poverty line due to domestic violence? Does daddy beat mummy so fucking hard that she can't work? Get fucked and suffer mental illness. So what's this got to do with anything? Seriously. Reports suggest that a few weeks before her death, Teresa Bradford's husband attempted to strangle her. This all happened in a household with 4 children. Well, why didn't the children stop it? Hey, we're blaming the men, but we should be blaming the fucking children. Why didn't they stop that bastard? Time and again we have seen children who are victims of family violence re-traumatized by being exposed to the perpetrator. We see many of the men who commit these crimes released on bail. Ooh, bail is scary. Bail is totally not an institution of a civilized society in order to uphold the principle of innocent until proven guilty. It is a crime against women. Children often have little access to proper representation, as well as consistent police standards in Australian courts for handling this kind of family violence as a national approach. Wally wasn't violent to the children. I don't know what you think that they need, but alright. This is not helped by cuts to frontline funding for homelessness shelters and community legal centres. The thing is that a lot of these cuts are orchestrated by the fact that you campaign for violence is only possible against women. Well, that reduces the population of potential violence sufferers by half, and since violence is actually perpetrated against men 90 to 99% of the time, your funding is significantly dwindled. It just happens to be filtered into a smaller group of recipients. Changes need to be made to the family court, but in the interim, we see the scourge of family violence rising. Yes, and I see the scourge of female nagging rising. Urge to kill rising. My life for ire. Power overwhelming. While the system is not being fixed, it is putting children in harm's way. No, you duct taping them to your chest is putting them in harm's way, bitch. This subject is often discussed in the Shorten household. I tell my children that when they go to school, they should be aware that some of their peers may be hurting, and to be kind. They look out for this. My children are the only children that look out for this. Everyone else's children are ignorant. They're like raised by men, and they don't even look out for when other people's children might be hurting because they're inadequate parents, because one of them is a male. Like in the Shorten household, we got rid of all men, and it's only just me and my children. And one of them is a boy, but I raised him as a feminist, so it's okay. He looks out for when women might feel hurt. The kindness of other children teachers, and other parents knows no bounds. And that's why I had to write an article about how no one in the world is kind. It's because other people's kindness knows no bounds. That wasn't good enough for my girls. It has to know less than no bounds. And the only way to do that is to, I think, kill all of the men, especially the white men. Yeah, all of them. That's why I married one, but now we need to kill him even more, because, he's married to me, and that basically makes him a domestic abuser. Fuck Bill Shorten.